Thank you. Here's Killingsworth. Iowa leads it by a Haluska field goal and a free throw afterwards on the second foul by Ratliff. Ratliff goes to the Hoosiers sideline, and the home team Hawkeyes badly in need of a win. Henderson misfiring, but it's Brunner muscling back with an offensive putback, and it is 5-0 here. Steve, what have we seen early for the fans who just joined us?
Well, just what the doctor ordered coming off that blowout against Michigan State. Number one, a home game for the Hawkeyes, and a quick start here early to feel good about themselves after the drubbing at the hands of Michigan State.
Here's Killingsworth, stolen now. Haluska puts it in the hands of Horner, the Hawkeye point guard. Life at home in the Big Ten, and it is tough on the road, folks. Brunner up firing. 7-0, back-to-back field goals, 4 for Brunner.
Quick timeout by Mike Davis.
This is a critical game for the Hawkeyes. After the 30-point blowout at East Lansing, they must win this game, Steve.
Well, when you look at the Big Ten Conference so deep, Brent, and as a result, you have to protect the home court. You want to split on the road and avoid consecutive losses. This matchup critical because Indiana obviously in the race for the Big Ten championship, and Iowa wanting to bounce back and feel good about themselves.
And there's one thing about the Hoosiers, you would think, because they're ranked higher and they're one of the co-leaders of the Big Ten, that they would be favored in this game here tonight, but they are not, which tells you about life on the road in the Big Ten. The Hawkeyes are a favorite despite that 30-point blowout at the hands of Michigan State. Now, Aaron, what happened with the Hawkeyes after that blowout?
Well, Brent, Jeff Horner told me Steve Alford loves watching film, and he figured on Sunday that he would take that film and break down every moment of it. In a minute, we'll let you know what he did with that game tape, Brent.
Boy, what great peripheral vision there by Aaron to see the action coming her way.
Didn't want to take the charge. Vaden nails the three and puts the Hurricane Hoosiers on the scoreboard.
Well, there's that inside-outside attack. The Hoosiers, #1 in the country at 46% from behind the arc. And all of that action on the perimeter is set up by the low post presence of Marco Killingsworth.
Hansen, who got an early foul trouble, out high. He can shoot the 12, 13-footer. Haluska very active, very quick. Brunner, fine all-around player, one of the best in the Big Ten. Muscles in for his 3rd field goal.
Boy, he is putting on a clinic. Brent reminds me a lot of Dave Cowens. If you go back in the day, Brian Cardinal, more recently, the former Boilermaker, who's had a nice NBA career.
Killingsworth got Hansen in the air. The shot was blocked. Good job by Erek. The Hawkeyes off to a very positive start. They lead it by 6. And Brunner up firing, feels it off the front of the iron. Vaden, and coming in behind was Horner, and Vaden protects the ball. Here is Monroe. Lewis Monroe, who, like Killingsworth, transferred here from Auburn. Wilmot, one of the better 6-men in the Big Ten. Loads the post. There's the double. Killingsworth muscles in for the layup.
Boy, his ability to turn and face on the perimeter, plays at a nice pace, doesn't rush, not in a hurry. As a result, when help comes, he will kick for the 3-point shooting attack of the Hoosiers, and in single coverage, it's an M&M. He just goes to work.
Mike Henderson kicks it on over, back in the hands of Erek Hansen. Over to the right side, Haluska up firing, and it's 11-5 Iowa.
Iowa coaching staff has to be pleased early in the game here with the Hawkeyes' ball movement, looking for one another, very crisp offensively. They felt against Michigan State, Brent, too many empty possessions. There's Vaden.
A 3, Steve.
Love his game. I think has as good a basketball IQ, as good as feel for the game as anyone in the Big Ten Conference.
Having checked in also is Eric Surr, very popular figure in Bloomington for the Hoosiers. Wilmot defending Haluska. They load Brunner again. Killingsworth with his hands full against number 44. Back outside, deep 3, Horner no, and it's all right underneath.
Boy, NBA range 3, that's a case there where the Hawkeyes could step in a little bit closer to that 3-point line, increase their accuracy as a result. Now here's playing through the post again. DeMarco Killingsworth, so smooth, great agility, plays with an ease in the low post.
So after that explosive start by Brunner and the Hawkeyes, the Hoosiers ease back into it, down by 1, and it's number 5, the man in that low block, doing it. Now Brunner wants to go to work. Has Vaden on him.
Good patience by the Hawkeyes early in this game. Willing to get deeper into the shot clock possession. A blocking foul.
So that is number 1 on the big fella. We've got a 1-point game. It's the Big Ten. Iowa City, Iowa. Timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. And in part by Staples. That was easy.
Well, the Hawkeyes leading the Hoosiers by 1. And earlier, Brent Musburger asked me what happened when the Hawkeyes returned from that 30-point loss at the Breslin Center. Well, Jeff Warner told me, great, we're going to have to watch that entire film over because our coach, Steve Alford, is obsessed with film. Not what happened. Alford grabbed the tape and said, we're done with this. We are done with this. We're pulling it apart. No one's going to watch it. No one. We're going to start new, guys.
How about the props?
That's what they did. Huge props. In Hollywood, I was told this would cost $5,000.
Aaron Andrew, bringing it on.
Hey, I should remind everybody that Aaron is available on ESPN HD, presented by DLP Picture Technology. So it's 11-10. It's Steve Alford's Hawkeyes over his alma mater by a point. Steve, one of the greats in Indiana basketball history, high school, and of course playing for Bob Knight. Won a national championship in '87 when they beat Syracuse down in New Orleans. Keith Smart was the hero that night. He nailed the game winner. Now it's the Hawkeyes trying to win a big one here at home in a rough and tumble year for the Big Ten.
A little zone defense out of the timeout by Mike Davis's Hoosiers, giving a different look to the Hawkeyes.
And Henderson misfired, and Sir, a hustler, does a lot of good things in practice that we watched here today at the shoot-around. Tried to get it to Killingsworth. Now here comes young Freeman. And Henderson, it glided in for the layup.
Turnovers and quick shots create fast break opportunities for the opponents.
Well, Mike Henderson nets the deuce. And the Hawks are up by a 3-ball. Sir, he got Killingsworth fed. Back outside. In and out. Monroe almost deadlocked it. And muscling that rebound, Doug Thomas. He's a senior. He was a JC transfer here a year ago. Now here's Brunner. He's double teamed. And Sir quickly gets into the passing lane for the interception. So he's done some little things here, Steve.
Good help by Sir defensively. He's 12 for 22 on the year from the three-point line, but showing he can play some defense as well.
Vaden missed the runner, but comes up with the loose ball for Indiana.
Vaden, the complete package, Brent. Could shoot it from long distance, can go inside, play with his back to the basket, a good creator off the dribble. Also a money player with the game on the line, thrives being the guy that gets it done.
It is obvious that Iowa feels that Thomas can do a job on Killingsworth. He's being very physical down in the low block, fronting him, staying with him. This is a veteran and an outstanding officiating crew here tonight, keeping an eye on things as Vaden misses the 3-ball, and there is Thomas sealing up the rebound for the Hawks, and here comes Horner. Kick now to Haluska. And Horner won't stay down. Thomas back.
Good follow-up by Thomas, able to get on the glass. Surprising again, Horner shooting from behind NBA three-point range. Needs to step in a couple feet, will increase his accuracy as a result.
15-10 now, Hawkeyes.
So critical for the Hawkeyes early to have success as they have. Very active, high hands defensively. Coming off that tough loss, you need to feel good about yourself.
All right, let's send you now to Dave Repson. Dave?
All right, Brent, want to update you on Georgetown and Notre Dame. Just a wild game. This one in overtime. The Irish with a chance, tied at 76. Chris Quinn cannot hit. They head to a second overtime. And right now you see Georgetown on top 83-79 as they wind down in the final 2 minutes there, heading towards the final 2 minutes in South Bend. Villanova survives the scare, shot just 27.6%. They do beat South Florida, though, by 3.
.11:05 left here in the first half. Iowa 15, Indiana 10. Our ING Star Watch tonight, and Marco Killingsworth, who has 1 personal foul, also has a couple of hoops, and he'll take a seat over there on the bench. Greg Brunner, 6 points, 3 of 4 from the field for the Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes do not yet have a team foul, and Greg is now taking a seat over there, and so both coaches go to their benches. And we see that Alex Thompson is on the floor for the Hawkeyes. Thomas, who's been very active. The pull-up by Callaway misses badly off to the right side, and here we have young Tony Freeman from Maywood, Illinois. He'll run the point as both coaches hit their benches. Vaden is still on the floor for the Hoosiers. See who the shooters will be as Horner stays out, along with Haluska for Iowa. So they have 2 known scorers, although Horner has certainly struggled with the 3-ball this year, as has the entire Iowa team. Wilmot tracks it on down. Callaway, the head man, to serve. And back down to Vaden, who is always thinking about looking for daylight for that 3-point shot, Steve.
A tremendous playmaker, a good feel for the game. A point guard that also can slide inside, a point forward, and a coach on the floor.
Sean Clyde misses, and the foul. And that is as we pointed out, coming out of break, there was not a single team foul against Iowa, and Tim Higgins picks up the first one there. Indiana has gone without a field goal for the last 3:30, and Vaden coming up now to the free throw line.
Cardinal rule in basketball, Brent. Do not foul a jump shooter. Alex Thompson there, ill-advised, fouling Vaden, a 90% free throw shooter on the year.
Well, Steve, there's Coach Davis. What do you make of his work so far this year with the Hoosiers?
Tell you what, I'd have him up for Coach of the Year honors in the conference, considering he came in to this season with such a level of scrutiny. Obviously, a great deal of pressure. He's handled it well, and DJ White, his best player in terms of a pro prospect at the next level, has been out. Give him a thumbs up. Does a nice job in terms of preparation, has a tremendous coaching staff.
There's DJ.
What a blow to the Hoosiers.
I would guess now that for Coach Davis that he will not get much, if any, help from DJ the rest of the way in the tournament. And you can see the walking cast that he has on the left foot. It is the second time he has broken a bone in that foot, and so he has to be very careful. He could apply for a redshirt year. He did not play enough to be disqualified from that. And there's the offensive foul on Haluska. And Eddie Hightower has foul number 1 on Haluska, and offered not a green, but it looked like it might have been a right call from our angle.
Nice job by Roderick Wilmot of moving his feet, sliding in position. Haluska lowers the shoulder, made the call easier. What a crew we have of officials here.
Yeah, I want to go back on DJ White, because even if he did return, would he be in game shape? Would he be in the kind of physical condition that the Hoosiers would have to have come tournament time? That's traveling on Vaden. And Hightower sends it back the Hawkeyes' way here. It's a 3-point game, and I know how disappointed the young man is, the freshman of the year in the Big Ten. He comes around, he watches practice, and gets a little bit bored, and then he'll go down to the other end and take some shots. A fine young man. He's from Davis's home state of Alabama.
Mike Davis said today he does not expect DJ White to return. They haven't gotten the definitive word from the medical staff at Indiana, but he clearly said he does not expect DJ White to return this season.
Haluska quickly pulls the trigger, and Vaden going for the rebound, and Brunner had a hand on it, knocked out of bounds.
Iowa's coaching staff talked a lot about the fact they want to eliminate empty possessions. That means quick shots or turnovers. And when they do have an empty possession, critical that they put 4, 5, 6 touches on the ball and play inside out, give themselves a chance to get fouled or get a good look at the basket against Michigan State. That was missing in their attack.
Killingsworth's back on the floor. Brunner taking him defensively. Vaden eyeing the big fella, and now Monroe feeds him. There's that back outside quick game. Monroe get it back into Killingsworth's hands. Maneuvers, battle, rebound, Hawkeye basketball. Carlton Reed working out there with Freeman for the Hawks. This is Freeman, bad miss into Wilmot's hands. Now Indiana comes down, and they have missed their last 5 from the field. And here's Killingsworth. Look at the triple team on him, Steve. He's just drawing everybody.
Like bees on honey, Brent. Total collaborative team, collective effort defensively when you go against Marco Killingsworth.
ESPN2's coverage of college basketball continues Wednesday. Cincinnati takes on its longtime rival Louisville for the first time as members of the Big East. Cincinnati Louisville also available high definition on ESPN2 HD.
What a job Andy Kennedy has done. I'll tell you what, he may not become the permanent coach working with the interim tag this year. He's done a nice job, very poised. Had Cincinnati competitive in almost every game. I think he's put himself in position to be a head coach somewhere else next year. Athletic directors, remember that name, Andy Kennedy.
Killingsworth again, and there's a quick double team as soon as he catches. Back to Callaway. Came back out.
Good box out by the Hawkeyes there. Very rarely do you see the ball bounce on the floor. That is a serious clinic on screening out.
Missing in underneath. Haluska rebounded by the Hoosiers. Bad pass, turn it over, goes over. Let's join Dave Revson for a SportsCenter 30 at 30.
Thank you, Brent. 40-year-old Mario Lemieux retiring from the NHL today for the second time. The Pittsburgh Penguin hanging it up due to a variety of health issues. He's, of course, battled Hodgkin's disease, back problems, and then most recently an irregular heartbeat. Look for a while this afternoon as if a trade sending Ron Artest to the Kings for Peja Stojakovic was imminent. Now it appears that deal's off. Stephen A. Smith, Jim Gray reporting Artest does not want to go to Sacramento. All that plus news on Theo Epstein and the Red Sox all coming up on SportsCenter after the game. Of course, you can tune anytime to ESPN News.
Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by Lexus. 15-12. Hawkeyes with the lead and the basketball. Both teams ice cold, and Hansen ends it.
Big fella really has developed his game during his career at Iowa. Much stronger, has gotten into the weight room. Still very angular and lean, but much stronger than he was earlier in his career.
Always a double team. Killingsworth slips inside down the baseline and missed it. Comes back, and Hansen blocks it, and the foul is called. Let's go to the textbook box out here by Iowa.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brent, you don't see this very often in basketball. Let's see the ball goes around and out. Freeze it right here. Look at this action. The 3 defenders by the Hawkeyes. The ball will bounce on the floor. High school coaches in the country, youth league coaches watching that. That is the ideal box out. Moving your feet, keeping position, sealing off, creating a vacuum or a pocket of space to allow that ball to bounce.
Killingsworth being surrounded by Alford defenders, and now he misses the free throw. Let's go to Erek.
Mentioning Marco Killingsworth being surrounded, I talked a little bit to assistant coach Sidney Green about this. What they're trying to do is have Marco understand how to pass out of the post. He said teams know they're going to try to get the ball to Marco. He's got to make that extra pass.
And if he's going to miss free throws, Aaron, they will keep putting him on the line. Whip it inside. Horner is fouled, and Sir picks up his first, and Horner will shoot a pair of free throws here for the Hawkeyes, who lead it by 5. There is Sidney Green and his son, a Gator, playing on one of the best teams in the SEC. Perhaps the what do you think, Steve? Would you say Florida is #1 down in the SEC?
Yeah, they're the clear favorite to win that conference. They've played the best basketball consistently over the course of the season.
And look at Erek Hansen. I told you he had good range, and he moves that one outside.
Well, he's improved his game, the ability to play around the basket area, to step away, and a shot blocker, playing with more confidence, more of a swagger and self-esteem.
Had a bad game up at Michigan State, and now Killingsworth goes up over the top with his jump shot. And as time wound down to that blowout, Coach Alford just said, well, why don't you just take a seat? And now Ratliff picked up 2 quick fouls, comes up with a loose ball in the steal, comes inside on a tough field goal.
Boy, very elusive there. Avoiding the defense, good body control, and the finish.
One thing about this long-range shooting that's plagued the Hawkeyes, they've missed all 6 of their threes here tonight. Erek Hansen has hit a couple of 2s in the last minute. He's out on top right now. He has range, but he's not a three-point marksman. Now Horner will try one. Won't go down, and there's a foul on Ratliff. That's number 3. Number 3 on Ratliff. And Wilmot will quickly check back in for Coach Davis, who is up trying to tell him, move your feet laterally. He was teaching over from the sideline. And just moments ago, Ratliff came up with the big offensive play, but he's got to take a seat because of the 3rd foul.
Iowa much more patient. You see the quick post up by Horner. A little inversion there. Putting the guard down the block. A little quick hitter.
And that's on Sir, number 2. So some foul problems here. We've got the 1-on-1 coming up for the Hawkeyes. What do we got here, Coach? 5:36 to go. Iowa leading it by 3.
That's heads-up basketball by the Hawkeyes. They've been alert and aggressive all day on the inbounds, seeing the mismatch. Horner actually having the size advantage over Sir. A little quick hitter on the out-of-bounds baseline play. Early step in here.
This is a very good student body at this end. The Hawks Nest in behind. They were very loyal, came early. A cold wind across the Midwest here today. Step outside and it's going to sting a little bit. These are very, very loyal basketball fans. I know the crowds have been down for a few of the games this year, but they win this one, and with the Buckeyes coming in next, they'll jam this place. This is a team with a great shot, and there's a lane violation.
2 consecutive free throws where the Hoosiers came in early. Not called on the first one because Horner knocked it down, but called on the miss. That's body balance when you line up at the foul line.
And they made him pay for it. Hawkeyes doing some of the little things tonight. Good D against Killingsworth. Getting to the free throw line more than the Hoosiers. Now Wilmot for the left corner. Rims out into Brunner's hands. Brunner is a walking double-double, like Davis up at Michigan State.
You know, there are nights where you're not going to hit your three-point shots, and until you get into that rhythm or zone offensively, you have to generate points on the boards. Look at Hansen, baby, to the bucket.
He's showing our guy Killingsworth a thing or two about that low post play.
Oh, facing up like Jack Sikma, the one bounce, the flyby, the finish at the rim.
Back to Monroe. Vaden will put it down. He'll try to attack. A whistle on the play. Let's check in on Erek Hansen. He's been in many ways the player of the match, Steve.
Well, look at the big fella facing up. Put it on the deck. The blow by. Can't kick this guy around. No more chopsticks or celery sticks. He's put some meat on those bones, Brent.
No longer a Bradley, huh, Coach? Brunner picks up his first foul.
No more Chuck Nevitt.
Killingsworth tries a three. Getting frustrated at the low block. Moved his game on the outside. Hawks having a good first half here. Brunner attacks the paint, kicks to the corner. Haluska fires the three ball. Yes. Terrific inside-outside play.
Another quick timeout by Mike Davis. Doesn't like what he sees at either end of the floor.
The crowd will take you to break. The Hawkeyes lead it by 10.
Get these reacts to this daughter.
Aaron and Steve, you both made the same observation. Aaron, you said Coach Alford was extremely relaxed here yesterday and today.
I certainly did. I talked to him after practice, came right over, chatted to me. I asked him about the Breslin Center and the experience there. He kind of laughed it off, which I was very surprised about, Lav.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are some games you just have to flush and move on. You look back long enough to learn, which this coaching staff did. They came away feeling as though they had too many empty possessions, quick shots and turnovers, allowed Michigan State to get out in transition. Therefore, they were blown out, but they have come back sharp in this ball game, defensively and offensively.
Good hustle by Sir. Vaden was under extreme pressure that time. Hoosiers are down 10. Hoosiers need a 3-ball. Vaden will try to give it to him. That does on cue. It's a 7 now. Indiana, one of the most talented teams in the country. The two transfers from Auburn have meant so much with the injury to DJ White. Over the top, alley-oop.
Breakdown defensively, lack of communication and vision by the Hoosiers. Good execution by the Hawkeyes.
And Vaden gets it back again and gains one on Erek Hansen. It's 28-22. Folks, things are heating up in Iowa City.
Right back at you. Punch, counter punch.
Deep 3, air ball. Boy, Horner has really missed the target a couple of times tonight. We'll take a break. Alfred's Hawkeyes lead it, but only by 6.
Dave Revson alongside Jay Billis, Rick Majerus. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, is the Big Ten the best conference in the nation? We will ponder that weighty issue. Thoughts on the first half so far, guys?
Forget about Killingsworth. There's a new sheriff in town. Erek Hansen has scored on a lob, a jump shot, a hook, and a drive. He's owning the paint in the first half.
Yeah, big-time shot blocker. And when Marco Killingsworth gets the ball inside, as Brent and Steve have pointed out, they are double-teaming him. He needs to look opposite. Indiana's going to start knocking those shots down. They make the extra pass. It's a really good shooting team.
They certainly have shot it very well this year. Lots more on this game, plus an unbelievable game in South Bend. We'll show you the highlights of that one. It's coming up at the half. Brent?
All right, Dave, good to see Rick in the studio with Jay. And right on the money, those two here with their observations. And there is a foul called by Higgins on the other side. 28-22. The Hawkeyes lead at Killingsworth, whom Jay talked about, needs to get that opposite side with the pass. And they were working on that in practice here today. And the Hawkeyes done a good job of clogging the passing lanes on him, haven't they, Steve?
Well, basically, Indiana's offense is to get the ball to Killingsworth and then to read the defense based on where the help is coming from. Post to post, or Little coming down to help, and then kicking the ball out and probing for the open three-point shot or the drive and kick off the reversal.
Boy, the Hawkeyes are playing some tough defense right now. Wilmot gets inside and couldn't flush it. And there was the young man, Doug Thomas, again. Man, when you get an opportunity like that, you know what was going through Davis's mind. He thought he had a deuce that time on the run. Haluska, there's a foul.
Wilmot just attacking the rim with authority, but comes up short. Poor rotation on that possession by the Hawkeyes, but a good effort by Thomas to contest.
That is the third foul on Sir. He's replaced by Lewis Monroe, the senior who went from Madison, Wisconsin, down to Auburn. Transferred back, sat out last year after a coaching change in Auburn. Joining Killingsworth. Haluska, who transferred to Iowa from Iowa State. Terrific high school athlete, a terrific track man, if you will, and you can see his speed on the floor. I'm sure, Steve, that with that speed and in range, that this young man will get a big-time look in the NBA. He could get up and down the floor, and he's got some shots. He's got some game.
And another year to continue to develop his game, his mid-range game, his ball-handling skills. Reminds me a little bit of Marley. We talked about that, the old Phoenix Suns.
Absolutely.
Standout.
Steal into Thomas's hand. Pass to Brunner. There's a beauty by Horner. Won't stay down, though. And Monroe has the rebound for Indiana. Trailing it by 8. 2 to go in the opening half.
Boy, good look ahead by Horner, and he found Brunner ahead of the defense. Just not able to finish.
From the paint, it's Sean Klein, the senior from Huntington, Indiana. Went to North High School there.
See Marco Killingsworth cheering on Klein. You always like to see that in a united team when guys on the bench get excited for their teammates.
And there's Wilmot with the steal. Going to glide short again. Twice he's come up a little bit short at the rim. Alford and the Hawkeyes call a timeout, and Steve is not happy with the ball protection. And Davis is talking to Wilmot there. And a reminder that Wednesday night now, the ESPN brings you college basketball and NBA doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Maryland will take on Georgia Tech. ACC Wednesday presented by Staples. Game also available on ESPN HD. Then at 9, NBA action. Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves visit the Memphis Grizzlies. Big news, of course, around the NBA. Kobe Bryant's phenomenal 81-point game. I cannot believe that some people are knocking that performance. First of all, that game was in question. The Lakers trailed it by double digits. And unlike Wilt Chamberlain, he wasn't shooting layups. He wasn't shooting slam dunks. He nailed 7 threes. It is the performance of the year. I don't care whether you like him or not. That is a great, great performance, and he deserves credit. Come on.
You go,
Let's get
Brent.
off his back.
You go, Brent.
Dave Brunner. Now the Hoosiers coming down. Vaden's out on top. Haluska's got him. Kicked out of Callaway. He's cut off. The Hawks have got good defense here, Steve.
You really see the difference when Killingsworth is not in the game. No inside presence, basically a donut.
Freeman loses it. Monroe back. Off the glass.
Wow, you got to call those. A little happy birthday.
And so they're within 4 as we approach the break.
One
The
shot.
Hoosiers are giving themselves a chance, Steve, in the second half. They've hung close enough to be right in the thick of things.
Well, on a long stretch here with Marco Killingsworth on the bench, they really haven't found their rhythm. Other than Vaden's 2 3-pointers, they have struggled from the perimeter.
There's a steal. Now Wilmot. He'll give it up this time. Get it back. And he's fouled by Thomas. He's on the free throw line. 6.3 to go. And they can make this a 2-point game. How about this?
Like the yo-yo, a little hot potato in transition. As a coach, you like the unselfishness. Willing to give the ball up and right back to you. Wilmot to the foul line for 2.
Look at this. Wilmot is all over the iron. He's been short on everything here.
Well, a tough night for Wilmot, but he has been so productive for the Hoosiers this year. Came up short there, needs to get a little more knee bend, some lift on his shot. There you go.
Good rotation there. That looked good, Steve. Must have heard you. 6.3. Last shot time. Can Freeman get it up? Got to fire. The run. Tap no. And that's the end of the first half. Well, with the way the Hawkeyes dominated at certain times in the first half, the Hoosiers have to feel very good about going in only down by 3. Iowa led by 10, 26-16 with 4:18 left. And then the Hoosiers closed it out 11-6. Coach Alford is with Aaron, so let's go to Aaron.
All right, Brent. Well, Coach, I know one of your concerns was Marco Killingsworth. You contained him with 6 points. How did your team do that?
Well, we just really did a good job with our team defense like we've been doing all year. And we got us a nice, good 10-point lead. And then we got back to our Achilles heel. We start quick shooting, taking really bad shots, and we turned the ball over in the last 4-minute game there. And it allowed them to get back in the game.
How do you get the momentum back going into the second?
Well, the key's coming out of the halftime. We didn't do that very well Saturday at East Lansing, so we've got to really come out in this first 4 minutes and establish the way we want to play again.
All right, Coach. Thanks, Brent.
All right, thank you very much, Aaron. And now we go to the studio. We join Dave along with Jay Billis and Coach Majerus for the UPS halftime report. Take it away, Dave.
Okay, thank you very much, Brent. Yeah, so Steve Alford talking about his team's performance after that 30-point pounding by Michigan State over the weekend. Certainly look vastly improved as compared to that game, guys.
Well, they're such a good defensive team, and Steve Alford hit it right at halftime with Aaron Andrews. Their offense has been hurting them. Anytime you play great defense and play it for 30-some seconds and you come down, you take a quick shot, you're really putting more pressure on your defense to get stops. You've got to make the other team guard as well, and they didn't make Indiana guard throughout that.
No, they didn't. Additionally, what Indiana's got to do is not get the ball right away into Killingsworth where the double team is set. They got to get it to him on the second side of the floor where the double isn't as apparent. And then when he does kick out on the rotation, when you're not hitting the jump shot, that drive is very evident there. I would drive that second ball change as opposed to settling for that J. I don't care how good a shooter Vaden and these guys are, Wilmot. You know, I like that drive when it's wide open because it gets you to the free-throw line.
Yeah, attacking the closeout.
This is an Indiana team that does lead the nation in three-point field goal shooting.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Acura TSX with MP3 player connectivity. Your life, your car, connected.
Diana Reed performing at halftime, a student here at Iowa, and one of the best baton twirlers we've seen, well, since the days of Calvin Murphy and his sister. And I really am old, but this girl, she was
good hands.
sensational.
Hand-eye coordination.
Great hands. Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk a little hoops here, Coach Lavin. What about the Hawkeyes, and what kind of shots did they get here?
Well, high percentage looks all night. Coach Alford has to be pleased with the fact his team was patient and executed. Take a look here, Brent. This is Haluska here is going to reverse the ball around the perimeter to Horner, and watch Haluska cut and then fake a little deceptiveness. He's going to set the screen. We're going to go over the top, and here comes Hansen for the dunk. This is clinic execution, high percentage, 0-footer. Good look.
Some of our first half numbers here, and Brunner scored 6 of the Hawkeyes' first 9 points, but nothing since, as they shoot 41% for the field to the Hoosiers 38%. And Iowa again missing their threes, only 1 of 8. Didn't have a lot of fouls called by this officiating crew. Ed Hightower, Tim Higgins, John Higgins. The Higgins, incidentally, are not related, even though John likes to say Tim's his father, but it's not true. And Killingsworth traveled. And Aaron, you were speaking there with Coach Davis. What did he have to say?
Well, Brent, he told me he needs his guards to stop passing up the open looks. He wants his guards to shoot more here in the second half. Also, speaking of guards, Marshall Strickland will not play here in the second half. He did not play in the first half, suffering from a knee injury. And like you said, Brent, they don't know when he hurt it.
Yeah, good stuff. And there's a steal by Ratliff. Ratliff is playing with 3 fouls as he comes down on Henderson. Henderson cut him off. And here's Monroe, Vaden, Killingsworth. And Monroe, there he is, taking a shot, just like Aaron said that Coach wanted him to do.
Well, they never got the ball reversed. There's nothing wrong with using the three-point line as part of your offensive arsenal or part of your attack. But you want to give yourself a chance to get good looks, reverse the ball, give your team a chance to get fouled, move the defense.
Haluska was 3 of 6. Saving is Jeff Horner. Can't get it to Brunner, but wide open is Henderson. Defensive lapse on the weak side, and Henderson goes to the rack.
That's an example of giving yourself a chance to get a high percentage look, moving the ball.
So the Hoosiers shorthanded. Monroe will try it again. And he's missed a couple of threes into Horner's hands. Hawks up 5 and with the ball. Remember, Alford said at the end of the half he needed a big start here in the second half. Brunner cut off. He's doubled.
Quick double teams by the Hoosiers every time Brunner touches the ball.
Haluska misfiring. And Brunner this time doesn't miss it. That's his first field goal since 16-22 in the first half. We've got a timeout. Iowa 34, Indiana 27.
The Hawkeyes lead the Hoosiers 34-27, and here at Iowa, they pride themselves on a family atmosphere. And if you know Steve Alford, you know his family is right behind him. They're actually lining the court tonight. His 8-year-old daughter, Kayla, she's been so fun to watch all night. Coach Alford said she is so into this game. Now, it was hilarious because in the first half, Adam Haluska made a three-pointer. We got to show you the reaction a little later, Brent.
All right, Aaron, we'll come right back to you here when we've got a stoppage. The Hoosiers off the timeout. Need to see what they can get going. Ball on the floor. Picked up by Henderson. Follows the Brunner lead block. Gets to the rim.
Boy, knifing to the basket in the open floor. Henderson gives them tremendous defensive ball pressure. You see him hawking, stalking the ball out front.
Blocked by Hansen. And a foul is called.
Brent, defense is how the Hawkeyes have won all year. If you eliminate that Michigan State blowout on the season, 37%, number 1 in the Big Ten.
Steve, that's number 4 on Ratliff. Killingsworth watching. Ratliff will take a seat. And back on the floor is Erek. Things not looking good for the Hoosiers right now, who trail at 36-27. They've never led in this game tonight here in Iowa City.
Sean Klein, a solid basketball player that gives the Hoosiers minutes off the bench, a veteran player, but he is no Marco Killingsworth. As a result, at both ends of the floor with Killingsworth on the bench, Indiana so vulnerable in the basket area.
Great tap by Brunner. Brunner muscles and kicks to Horner. The three's good. And finally, Horner lights it up with a 3. And the Hawkeyes build their biggest lead of the game.
Excellent two-man game on one side of the floor. Got a shooter and a post player. Brunner showing he can drive the ball, the recognition to kick to the open man.
Wilmot blocked by Hansen. Hawkeyes on fire, knocked out of bounds by Wilmot, who goes into the crowd.
Look at this draw and kick basketball. Brunner putting it on the deck. The help comes from Sir. Kicks the ball out to our man Horner.
And you can see the reaction from Kayla.
Boy, the Hawkeyes have answered the bell coming off that blowout loss to Michigan State, showing a lot of resiliency, spirit, and pluck. Clearly a character gut check win if the Hawkeyes were to pull this off.
Haluska. 41-27, biggest of the night, an 11-0 Hawkeye run here in the second half.
Iowa doing a nice job on their baseline out-of-bounds plays, Brent. We talked about it before in basketball. That's the equivalent of the kicking game or special teams in football.
Another missed 3. That time it was Ben Allen, the 6'10" player from Melbourne, Australia. And Brunner at the other end nails it for the Hawkeyes. They love it in Iowa City tonight.
This crowd is electric tonight because the Hawkeyes have responded again inside to outside. The bench into the game, the team clearly feeling better about themselves.
Well, Wednesday night, ESPN brings you a college basketball and NBA doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Maryland against Georgia Tech. And Maryland without their leading scorer, Chris McCray, out for the season. Academics, he was averaging better than 15 a game. They visit Georgia Tech. At 9, NBA action. The Minnesota Timberwolves blew a 19-point lead at home to Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. They go on the road to play the Memphis Grizzlies, badly in need of a win. Hoosiers will bring it down here, and they are in trouble on the road. But what else is new, Steve?
Well, this conference so deep. Killingsworth still on the bench. Just no inside presence for the Hoosiers.
Well, that'll get him back. Callaway nails the three. It's a 14.
They got Klein on a foul in the basket area.
So even when they win, they can't close out as they pick up another personal timeout.
Brent, Iowa leading this game big. Watch the execution here along the baseline as we see Haluska pass the ball into the corner to Horner, and then a quick step in right here, taking advantage of the 6'5" size. A good finish from a tough angle. Started behind the backboard, able with body balance, dexterity, and the finish. Impressive.
Steve, for the Hoosiers, Ben Allen and Sean Klein stay on the floor. Marco Killingsworth, who has been not that big of a factor tonight, he's 3 of 8, will watch from Coach Davis's bench. And there's the steal. Callaway coming back, deflected away by Haluska, and Callaway hustles after it. Fine play.
This is an unusual lineup we haven't seen often this year by the Hoosiers. Clearly Mike Davis trying to send a message.
Yeah, not happy with how his starters were playing. Hoosiers give it up. Ratliff saddled with 4 fouls is taking Haluska.
If you're Iowa, you want to take advantage of the matchups at this end of the floor.
And Brunner does just that. It's a 16 with Killingsworth still watching.
I love Brunner because he brings a rugged toughness on defense, but a soft touch on offense. He can bang down low, but also step away.
And there is a 2. So the Aussie, Ben Allen, nails the deuce. Down away from the ball. An elbow down low.
Good ball reversal. Brunner putting on the ball handling skill exhibition as well as knocking it down from mid-range. I'll tell you what, how about in the triple overtime game against Minnesota, 23 rebounds for Greg Brunner.
Hansen gets the inbound, misfires. Ratliff with a strong rebound. Crowd wanted traveling. Vaden checked back in for Coach Davis. He's on the floor for the Hoosiers. They're down by 14. 13:44 to go. First goal is to get it down inside of 10. Callaway has it blocked. Brunner was down there along with Hansen. Gets it back. What great hands he's got, and hustled. And putting it back up for 3 more points is Earl Callaway. Sir Henderson traveling. Turned it over to the Hoosiers. They can get it down to double digits right now on this trip with this lineup.
Well, give Coach Davis some credit here. Sending a message. Not pleased with his starting lineup. He's got Vaden back into the mix.
Indiana's got an 8-2 run now with Vaden back on the floor along with Callaway, Sir, Ratliff, and Allen. So that's the lineup for Indiana right now. Allen comes out with a hard screen on Freeman, and it's Callaway pulls the trigger into Brunner's hands.
Horner wisely wanting to ensure the Hawkeyes get into an offensive set. They like to run quick hitter NBA looks. If they don't have something, they want to get into their motion offense.
Freeman misses into Ratliff's hands.
Too quick there. Coach Majerus talked at halftime about getting the ball around the perimeter. Sometimes you have to reverse the ball 2 or 3 times. In particular, playing with an 11-point lead at home, no need to jack shots.
Callaway's had an impressive stretch. Allen got his man in the air, comes up firing, misfires. Haluska, Ratliff had a hand, and that could be it on Ratliff. That's it. He is fouled out. Davis, he is warned by John Higgins not to complain too much or he's going to tee him up. There's John. Davis says he went straight up in the air.
I think the officials had this one right, Brent. An outstanding crew. Take a look here at the shot. Haluska got inside position, took a whack to the head.
Did he reach back on him with the arm, did you think, Steve? Or could it have been one that didn't need to be called?
Well, in the Big Ten, traditionally, we know it's no blood, no foul, no harm, no foul. On the replay, Mike Davis actually had more of a case than I thought he did in the live action. But again, Timmy Higgins, 10 Final Fours. John Higgins, the younger of the two, has been to some regional finals. And Eddie Hightower, 10 Final Fours. So you could not ask for a better crew than these three.
And Ratliff put himself in jeopardy with the 4 fouls earlier. So that can happen to you in that situation. And Tim Higgins over gets a smile on Davis's face and gets a chuckle out of him. A good veteran calming things down. And I don't think Davis was all that upset about it. He knows that Ratliff didn't play all that well earlier in the game.
Full court pressure here. Comes up with the
great hustle by Wilmot, and he's fouled by Brunner, and quickly Hightower steps in just in case. And Aaron, what are you hearing about Killingsworth over there?
Well, Brent, I went over and talked to Aaron Jordan, actually, Indiana's SID, because Marco Killingsworth has been a guy who suffered from back spasms. He said, no, he's fine. Mike Davis just trying to prove a point. Now, interesting enough, when they came out from halftime, I asked Coach Davis, what did you say to Killingsworth about making the extra pass? And he looked at me and said, I didn't have to say anything. He knew he was supposed to do it during the first half.
Interesting. You know, I think the message has been sent, but you're in a Big Ten championship race. You've rewarded the guys that work hard every day in practice and don't get to play as much, but now you might want to go back with your best guns.
Vaden nails the 3-ball, so he's got it down. He's got it within single digits. Davis still coaching away over there on the far side, but the Hoosiers not going away here.
Yeah, I think this is the ideal scenario for a coach. If you're Mike Davis, you send a message to your starters. You've rewarded the kids on the bench that don't traditionally get to play in a big-time environment. But now, go back with your horses. Go back with your best players, because a Big Ten championship is at stake.
ESPN 2's coverage of college basketball continues Wednesday night as Cincinnati takes on Louisville. This is the first time they've met as members of the Big East, available in high definition on ESPN 2 HD. And Steve, what's your feeling about Louisville? Could they be in a little bit of trouble as far as the NCAA is concerned?
Well, a veteran coach in Rick Pitino, a future Hall of Famer, he's coached with his back to the wall before, so there's no panic in his game. He's as good a jockey as there is at having teams close strong, but they need Taekwon Dean. Without a doubt, if he is not at full strength, Louisville in danger of not making the NCAA tournament.
Iowa once led it by 17 at the 15-30 mark. Indiana on an 11-2 run has cut it down to 8 with Marco Killingsworth watching from the Hoosiers bench.
Hawkeye's a little bit shaky against Indiana's full court pressure.
Erek Sir thought that he should have gotten the whistle advantage that time. Then Brunner steps out. Vaden sloughing off just a little bit up on top. Now he tightens up on him with 8 to go on the shot now. Hawkeyes are a little bit late getting to something here. 5 now on the shot. Got to go 3. And Horner couldn't bail him out. And Allen yanks away the rebound.
Boy, Horner ends up shooting balls in Reggie Miller range, or the old rifleman range. Chuck Person needs to step in closer on his three-point shots. He will increase his accuracy. No need to shoot a 30-footer.
And Vaden lost it off him, out of bounds. He turns it over. And right now, let's join Dave Revson for a SportsCenter 30 at 30. Dave.
All right, Brent. 40-year-old Mario Lemieux retiring from the NHL today for the second time. Lemieux, of course, has had a variety of health issues over the year. The Hodgkin's disease, back problems, and then most recently, an irregular heartbeat. Did look for a while this afternoon as if a trade sending Ron Artest to the Kings for Peja Stojakovic was imminent. Now it appears that deal is off, although Artest and his agent are going to meet with the Pacers tomorrow. The hope is that that trade will be revived. All that plus more on the strange odyssey of Theo Epstein coming up on SportsCenter after the game or anytime on ESPN News.
Well, there on the far left, Ratliff fouled on. There is Killingsworth on the right. He went out at the 18-minute mark of the second half. It was 32-27 at the time. Now it is 46-38.
Mike Davis electing to continue to stay with this smaller, scrappy lineup. Have a hunch, bet a bunch. We've seen it before. Brent, as a coach, you know your team. I just really believe at some point he's got to come back with his starters when you consider what's at stake.
Sir trying to get it down the floor to Callaway. Henderson is back, takes the foul. And Sir wants the intentional, and there was no signal there.
Sir, a pepper pot.
Yes, he is. Very smart player, one of the coach's favorites. And as you watched him in practice, you can understand why.
Well, a quicker Hoosier team putting on some tremendous defensive pressure. Coming up with the turnover.
Big trip now, 10:25, and here's Allen, the big Aussie, and he traveled. Might be legal in Aussie rules football, but not in American basketball. But he's a young man who came out of the same institute that sent Bogut up to Utah. He took off, man. He saw daylight. He said, I'm just going to run to the rim.
Boy, you see those big numbers up there, Brent, by Killingsworth on the season and over the past couple weeks.
I think Allen is doing a job down low for him defensively, and coach is leaving him in. And there's the foul on Thomas. And Davis is just signaling you got to talk over there. You got to talk a little bit.
Well, dribble penetration, breaks down the defense, forces Allen to help uphill, exposes the baseline. Thomas able to break free and draw the foul.
Your pepper pot, Erek Sir, picks up number 4. The 5'8", 150-pound junior from Bloomington North High School.
A scrapper deluxe.
It's great to watch youngsters like this in the college game.
Well, it gives hope for younger players, too, that may not have the size, but have the heart. They have the basketball savvy. I respect the fact that Mike Davis not afraid in a pressure situation.
This has been an
to go to his bench.
Coaching decision to keep the player of the week on the bench a week ago. Remember now, Killingsworth was the player of the week in the Big Ten. And unless there's an injury that we haven't been told about, and it doesn't appear that way when he stands up. He's still staying very much in the game. He's not over there pouting. Davis keeping him out, going with the Aussie down low.
The next question is, when you do bring him back, if he's been in the freezer on ice, will he find his rhythm? Will he be effective?
Sir trying to find the 3-ball, couldn't, and it's into Haluska's hands. 47-38, now 9:50.
Iowa needs to get a good shot here, get touches on the ball.
Thomas bounces off. Allen holds his ground. Did an outstanding job defensively. Haluska, yes. Iron is kind, someone might say that.
Haluska off the one bounce, straight up and down, better body balance. At times he'll lean on his shot, which will affect his accuracy. On that, it was a nice bounce and straight up and down, Jerry West style.
Now this trip, the Hoosiers badly need something to happen.
They've got the donut inside, not much of a presence, forced to run pick and pops on the perimeter. Trying to invert Wilmot.
Vaden picks it up with 8 on the shot. Here's Callaway, put it down off the dribble, off Sir's hands.
Yeah, interior pass.
Offensive foul is called.
Good rotation by the Hawkeyes. Nothing going when you're trying to dump the ball off to your pepper pot in the post. Even if he catches it, what's he going to do with it? No daylight among the trees down low for Erek Sir.
Iowa shooting 67% from the field this half. 9 minutes to go, 49-38. The Hawkeyes with an 11-point lead. The favorite here tonight.
Here comes Killingsworth.
And now Marco is back up. One thing's for sure, Steve, he's well rested.
Interesting to see if he gets back in the game before the 8-minute TV timeout.
He sat for about 10 minutes. And there's a foul on the Hoosiers' Wilmot. That's his second.
Now, how Killingsworth responds will tell you a lot about him as a person and a player. Being out that long in the freezer, clearly a message being sent. But where is his maturity at? We will see.
Sean Klein. Well, Steve, one thing that you would like as a coach, I did watch him during time. He was right in the middle of the huddle. He didn't go down to the end of the bench and pout. he stayed right in the middle, stayed down close to the coaches, seemed to keep his head in. Now, whether he can jump back in this physically, I mean, that's something else again.
Well, sometimes a game like this can be a unifying experience because more players are involved. You become more other-directed. You learn the value of the entire basketball team at being a team sport. And to see Killingsworth pulling for his teammates, being more other-directed as opposed to self-directed, is a good sign.
Into his hands. Down comes Monroe. Lewis Monroe was out also.
I like this lineup. Enough perimeter players. You've got the bangers with Klein and Killingsworth.
Erek Hansen's on Killingsworth. Sir's going to try the three. Yes! How about that huge three by Eric Sir?
The scrapper, the pepper pot, bringing his A game.
Back to within 9. 8:10 to go at Iowa City. Brunner lost control. Ball out of bounds. Hawkeyes have it.
Phil Garner was a great pepper pot.
Yes, he was.
The old Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pepper Potter's a manager, too. Just ask some of the umpires.
Pepper pot scrap iron.
Yeah.
Terms that describe that internal fortitude, toughness.
We call it guts, Coach. It's okay.
Straight guts.
It's okay. You're on cable. You can say that.
PG-13.
Here comes Hansen now. And we're going to take a timeout here at the 7:52 mark. 50-41. Hawkeyes lead it. Time now for ESPNU's Pride of the Program. And tonight in the spotlight, Long Island. Long Island coach Clairby learned the game from Dr. James Naismith. He went on to win 360 games and 2 NIT titles at LIU. The innovative coach also helped create the shot clock and the 3-second rule. And by the time he left coaching in the 50s, he'd already begun writing the Chip Hilton series. It's considered the top sports fiction series ever written. More Pride of the Program features available on mobile ESPN. And I want you to take a look at this, folks. Clairby, 82% a winner. Number 1 all time. Minimum of 10 seasons. Adolph Rupp and John Wooden, 2nd and 3rd. Both had it. That means you win more than 8 for every 10 games you coach at that level. That's unbelievable.
How about in that era, CCNY, NYU, basketball powers. Bradley, at that point, a basketball power.
So Monroe now brings it up with Klein on the floor. The Hoosiers are down 9. 7:45 to go. Sir stays on the floor for Coach Davis. And Vaden puts it down on the run. Blocked by Hansen beautifully into Haluska's hands. Has Henderson on the right. Henderson will attack the rim. And he is fouled. Bodies go down underneath.
Hansen everywhere tonight, Brent. This crowd loving the effort.
That is 6 block shots for him tonight. And Erek Sir fouls out on that play. So the Pepper Pot joins Ratliff on the bench. And we send you across to Aaron for more on Big Hansen.
Hansen blocking the shot tonight. Also some fancy footwork. He can say thank you to a video game he's using. It's a dance game, guys, where you get one of those mats and you do the dance steps on the mats. He says that has helped him work on his footwork and balance. He used it in high school. It helped him not get in foul trouble.
Aaron, I'd take him in a contest over Kenny Mayne.
Yeah, you know, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I'll tell you what.
I know he's not working with a girl, though, Brent. We got to see his skills with a woman.
Well, we'll send you out there with it.
All right.
You're seeing more and more players take ballet classes, yoga classes. You saw it with Jerry Rice when he's with the 49ers, working on agility and balance.
I have a theory about golf. If you want to improve your game, go dance. Rhythm. I think good musicians have been good golfers, been able to walk out, play. But that music, I don't know where that right is.
I think you've got a point there. Listen to a little Artie Shaw. A little big band music.
That's it. Put on a headset when you go to
classical music. You got to mix something in with the heavy metal and the rap. It can't be all heavy metal rap.
There's nothing like jazz, my friend.
For rhythm, no question. One of the reasons Iowa holding opponents to 37% on the year from the field is because of Hansen, the big fly swatter back there, like Marvin Webster, the human eraser.
Ball goes out of bounds, belongs to the Hawks. Killingsworth wanted it. Horner tumbled. 20 on the shot clock. Margins 9. Still plenty of time, but a reminder now the Hoosiers have never led in this game.
Well, too soon to go into a delay game, clearly. You want to stay aggressive, but make each possession count. That means get deeper into shot clock.
Here's Brunner. Horner's deep three again, determined off iron, and Henderson's got it.
Horner again from NBA range. The coaches need to get with Horner and tell him to step up to the three-point line. Don't take an open shot and turn it into such a tough shot by being so deep on the floor.
Nails this one, and he was closer to the line.
Much better. A foot behind the line versus 6 feet behind the line increases accuracy. It's not hard. It's a simple game.
He's taken 9 3-point shots tonight and made 2 of them.
Well, when they watch the tape, as we see a little inside-outside action by the Hoosiers, but they did not get ball reversals.
It's going to go against Indiana. And foul is on Sean Klein. So we've talked about the shooting. Indiana came in second in the country with 52%. And here tonight, this Hawkeye field goal defense has really cooled them off.
Right on their season's average, doing a nice job of not allowing Indiana any high percentage looks in the basket area. Hansen and Brunner clearing the boards, and good pressure on the perimeter.
Of all the sports, okay, you've got all your footballs, all your baseballs, all your basketballs. The greatest home court advantage, ladies and gentlemen, is in the college basketball game. That's why teams like Iowa, without a record as glossy as Indiana's, find themselves favored in a game like this tonight. There is a huge advantage at home in the college game. Tap back now to Wilmot. And Davis wants a timeout. He wants a timeout, and Hightower and he were just looking at each other and dancing over there. Well, take a look at that. Take a look at the timeout graphic here as Davis exhausted at the 6:12 mark. And so with Steve Lavin and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger. This is Super Tuesday on ESPN. It is presented by Lexus. And this one of the more competitive seasons that we've seen in the Big Ten. 7 teams could be headed for the NCAA tournament. But teams like Iowa cannot stumble at home. You cannot make a mistake on your home turf. And I guess we give Wisconsin a pass for losing to the Bisons the other day. Is that your mulligan, Coach?
Everybody gets a mulligan at some point during the season. We haven't seen an undefeated run yet. Coming up on 30 years is Bobby Knight's 75-76 Hoosiers. Iowa's defense outstanding. Give Coach Alford and his staff credit for getting their team to bounce back. And look at the big fella, the human eraser, the fly swatter, taking care of business. Excellent rotation, quick on his feet, and also extending defensively. It's one thing to be 7 foot. It's another to get those hands up. Make yourself 8-9 feet by getting those hands straight up in the air, building a wall defensively. Erek Hansen, tremendous tonight. What confidence, what a swagger he's got.
And because of the shot blocking, Indiana is without a single point in the paint here in the second half. And when you've got Killingsworth on your team, that's hard to do. But Killingsworth, of course, spent much of the second half on the bench. Now let's see what happens here. In the last tee, Davis was just teed up by Eddie Hightower. I told you that he was dancing the dance over there as he was trying to call that timeout. And Ed walking away from him.
Well, frustration on Mike Davis's part. Been a night where they have not found their rhythm. Much of that due to Iowa's defense. He was in the ear of Eddie Hightower.
He's still in his ear. You can see him on that far side. Now watch Hightower turn. Had enough. Team up right there.
Boy, good technique on that technical foul.
Oh, yeah. He's had a lot of experience at Hightower.
It was so quick, too. Talk about quick hands.
So it is a 13-point lead with Haluska.
What I love about
He
this
made both of them.
staff, what I love about this officiating staff, Brent, is they will talk with you. They not only talk to the players, but they'll talk to the coaches. So they're educating you as they officiate the game. That communication, so critical. You'll see that more in the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12 than you do out west.
Vaden comes back against that 14-point lead, and wait a minute, I think it's going to get waved off. Hold on here. Higgins and Hightower are conferring.
We'll go to the monitor, see the replay.
I think that's what they're going to do right here. Taking a look at it now as the officials are.
Expired. No
good.
It
looked like it had zeroed out, didn't it?
They're going to have to wipe it.
Now, is that one in the left-hand corner? Let me ask the truck. Is that clock official in the left-hand corner, or is it up on the... I get confirmation that that is official. No basket.
That kind of night for the Hoosiers. But credit Iowa. Their defense, alert and aggressive. Offensively playing with much more poise and intelligence. We see them attack the full court pressure.
Knocked away from behind. A fine steal by Callaway, who's had a good game for the Hoosiers here tonight. Killingsworth muscles in. And he scored down in the paint, so it ends that drought. And he's got his first field goal since 6:23 left in the first half. .528 left in regulation.
Unusual for Horner. A couple misses tonight.
They've 1 of 2. They retreat on defense. 56-43. Margin is 13. Loose, picked up by the Hawkeyes. Forcing a turnover. Haluska puts it down on Callaway.
Opportunity for Iowa to show they know how to put a team away.
Right now running a little time. Brunner's open.
Good skip pass over the top of the defense. Boy, Horner and Brunner really look for each other. Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, as we see Vaden knock one down. Right back at you. Horner and Brunner really have a sense of where one another is on the floor. Almost a radar-like connection.
What a comeback game for Hansen tonight. Brunner fighting away on the free throw line for one.
Brunner continuing to put on an offensive clinic. Not only a rugged banger, but showing he has some finesse. A nice skip pass over the top. Gives the good target to communicate to Horner to skip it to me. And then inside, a poor trap by Indiana. Killingsworth not there in time. Doesn't close the door. And Brunner allowed to slip through for what could have been an old-fashioned three-point play, but comes up short on the free throw. Late in the game, so often we'll see. Oh, there's Killingsworth inside. Hansen that time a gamble in terms of position. Needs to play behind at the point of diminishing returns, especially at 7 foot. Make a player shoot over the top of you. Don't give him any angles to the basket. One of the few mistakes by Hansen this evening. Time and score if you're the Hawkeyes. The clock becomes your opponent. You want to stay aggressive with your cuts and your ball movement. Good shots only.
Henderson spins. And over to Hansen with 5 on the shot now. Clear cross court. Horner's got a fire. Out of bounds. Hoosier basketball. Hightower thinks it's a shot clock violation. That's the signal from that side. And here you can see Brunner's reaction underneath. The spin. The field goal right-handed. And the foul. All Hawkeyes tonight. All right, David, 60-48 here, Coach. All Hawkeyes.
Well, give the staff credit at Iowa and these players to show the resiliency. A loss is an opportunity to learn if it's used the right way, and today, clearly, the Hawkeyes have learned their lesson.
Hansen was going up for the rebound there, and pushing foul is called, and that's number 3 on him. As he was going up for the rebound, he's played a very, very good game here tonight. When you think about the Hawkeyes, they were blown out in Madison and in East Lansing, but they handled Illinois here 63-48, and now they're up on Indiana 60-48, which just shows you the two distinctly different personalities that basketball teams have. Monroe missing into Haluska's hands, goes to save it. And Indiana basketball, and the crowd did not approve of that.
Boy, Haluska fortunate to not pick up the technical foul, slamming his hands to the floor. A bit animated, to say the least.
And the 3 for Wilmot.
Good
and the Hoosiers have cut it back to single digits. And with the 3, who knows? They go for the steal and a foul on Indiana. And that's one of the reasons why Davis is so frustrated tonight. It is now 20 fouls against the Hoosiers to 9 for Iowa. So that has led to the frustration, and of course the earlier technical.
Well, and a big part of that, Brent, in fairness to this officiating crew, that's very misleading because Killingsworth has spent so many minutes on the bench. Indiana not playing a lineup that has a presence in the post, and as a result, not forcing Iowa into foul situations. This is a donut team. A team without a post presence when Killingsworth is on the bench. With DJ White's injury to compound problems, Hoosiers valiantly battling here late.
Trailing by 10. Mike Henderson on a free throw line. Killingsworth leads the Big Ten scores in conference games only. He came in at 21.8, and he has about 10 points here tonight. They feed him now down low. He's doubled, and instead of passing it right back out, he put it on the floor, and the ball was jammed in on the inside. As soon as he catches this, Coach, he's got to just tap it back outside to the open 3 right there.
Well,
get it up.
Well, the defense collapses like an accordion to the post, and he puts the ball down in the middle of the double team. You need to keep that ball high on the chest, under the chin with the elbows out, the big razor-sharp bumpers to keep the defense off of you, and then kick that ball out.
It's Lavin. Henderson quickly to the attack, and Horner will try to get a few seconds. He and Brunner.
Indiana's going to have to foul unless they're going to let Iowa burn clock. Surprised they're using so much time without Indiana fouling.
3 seniors on the floor here for Iowa. They're patiently running time, and Indiana's letting them do just that. There's a bad pass into Vaden's hands.
And quick scores and the ability to stop the clock.
Wilmot, air ball, Killingsworth, no, gets his own miss. And he'll be on the free throw line. So it is 62-51. Iowa coming off a 30-point setback at the hands of Michigan State and East Lansing. Steve Lavin and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger. Ratliff, one of the Hoosiers who fouled out in this game. Killingsworth is on the free throw line. Iowa is +9 tonight at the free throw line.
Very impressed, Brent, with Iowa's staff in terms of preparation. Craig Neal, who has 8 years.
Davis is in danger of being run by
another one.
He's very much in danger. He's shaking his head. He's talking. Hightower is trying not to look over there, or Davis would have been gone. As Brunner calls a timeout. Coach Davis is completely frustrated about the officiating here tonight. Well, Lev, let's take a look at your Golden Globes for the Big Ten.
Well, we're here at the mid-season, not of the Big Ten, but of the overall basketball season. You look at these 5 right now out in front in terms of all conference level players. But I'll tell you what's so impressive about the Big Ten. Let's take a look at the Golden Globe TV Awards, the second all Big Ten team. Equally as impressive, and on a given night, I'm not sure some coaches wouldn't mind having this team clearly capable of beating the first team, and that's indicative of the depth of this conference. 7 teams headed to the NCAA tournament, 6 in the Sagarin RPI top 15. I give Mike Davis Coach of the Year because he came in under so much scrutiny, so much pressure to deliver this year, and he has. And you add the injury to DJ White. Most improved, Cameron Taylor up at Wisconsin, and Ron Lewis doing a tremendous job at Ohio State off the bench as the Havlicek 6-man award.
Well, as we take a look at the standings and we think about the Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, there's a couple other fellas who definitely deserve some consideration. One will be Tommy Amaker if the Wolverines can battle their way back into the NCAA this year. Thad Matta at Ohio State with the Buckeyes. They've done good jobs. Here tonight, of course, Steve Alford's staff also has done a good job, even though through the years Alford's record in the conference has not been as good as some Hawkeye boosters would like.
Their coaching staff today deserves credit.
Killingsworth couldn't score down low. The frustrating night that he has had here. Wilmot goes to get it, and it'll be Hoosier basketball. But SportsCenter is coming up next. The great Mario Lemieux's retirement will be one of their top stories. The wacky world of Ron Artest will get an enormous amount of coverage as Vaden nails a 3 here, and it's back to 10 inside of 140.
No choice now but to go for the steal off the inbound, then foul and stop the clock.
And Horner in a collision, and he's going to be called for the foul on Callaway.
An excellent call by Tim Higgins here, Brent. Watch Horner just steamroll.
Kirk Ferentz, who sometimes sits down to my left, would have approved of that as a football play.
Like he was coming out of the backfield.
He made like Max Strong of the Seahawks.
Or Leinart going over the line of scrimmage against Notre Dame.
And knocking it down is Vaden. Back-to-back threes. 26 points for Vaden. He's just 2 behind his career high here.
Well, that's why we put him on the all-conference team at the mid-season point. He is a money ball player from long range. Just thrives in late games in terms of late game conditions. Relishes playing in the clutch. It's tough to teach that. Either you have that or you don't. Vaden clearly a money ball player. I love his total floor game. Defensively, helping on rotations, the playmaking skills he has, his size at 6'5", to see over defenses.
Well, let's see if the Hoosiers can knock down another 3. Make this a 6. Vaden's looking and Brunner's on him. They go inside. Killingsworth can't score. Goes back to the Hawkeyes.
Almost an intentional there, Brent, with the grab. When you're not going for the ball, you open yourself to a potential intentional foul call.
66-57, 112. Now Steve Levy and John Anderson await. Now they'll be coming up on SportsCenter just as soon as we bring down the curtain here on this Big Ten game. I mentioned Mario Lemieux's retirement. The wacky world of Ron Artest, who at one time this afternoon we were told had been traded, then did not want to go to Sacramento, and who knows what he's decided tonight. And beyond that, who cares? Brett Favre's NFL future, they'll talk about that on SportsCenter too. Wilmont's deep three, yes, and the Hoosiers find the 3 ball, but is there enough time with a minute to go? Monroe picks up the personal foul, and it has been a frustrating, tough night for Coach Davis here at Iowa City. I believe they go to Minnesota next over the weekend, and of course the Gophers really struggling at 0-5 in the Big Ten, but that makes them at home a dangerous team, because no one figures that they're going to go winless at home, and that is the next stop for the Hoosiers, who will fall to 4-2 in the Big Ten, and for the moment would slip a half game behind Wisconsin. And the Badgers will try to come back tomorrow night against Penn State up in Madison. Minnesota's at Illinois, Northwestern at Purdue, Michigan State at Michigan. Into Haluska, and the Hawkeyes now with a minute to go, up 10, and they're going to wrap up a big win here, which will move them to 4-2 in the conference. One of 7 teams gunning for a bid to the NCAA tournament.
Can't emphasize enough. We started to talk about Craig Neal earlier. Grew up with Steve Alford in Indiana, starred at Georgia Tech, still holds the ACC single-season record for 303 assists. So you see him flanked there right behind Coach Alford. Done a tremendous job, has brought some NBA quick hitters to this Iowa program, does a great job with preparation. Of course, Rich Walker, Director of Basketball Operations, his 16th year at Iowa, and of course, Greg Lansing and Brian Jones also, their entire coaching staff with Steve Alford obviously at the helm. Done a nice job in bringing back this Hawkeye team after that blowout loss to the Spartans.
Vaden battling for the rebound. Wilmont comes up with it for the Hoosiers. 30 seconds to go. Vaden fires the 3, and Erek Hansen dashes in for the rebound. And the foul on Wilmont. Haluska tonight is 8 of 8 at the free throw line as Hansen leads the parade this time, and the Hoosiers will go home and regroup and then travel up to the Twin Cities to play Minnesota. SportsCenter just seconds away as we wrap this one up. There'll be a big ovation here for Erek Hansen, the senior from Bedford, Texas, who leaves. His teammates are all up. Most of the crowd in ovation. 6'11" senior had 11 points and 6 block shots here tonight. Alford and Davis shaking hands. We're going to wrap this one up quickly. It's going to be a 13-point Iowa win, 133 points. So a win for the favorite and a low-scoring game. The crowd takes the floor here once again. It is 73-60. SportsCenter is coming up next. For more on this game, turn to ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. A great scene here in Iowa City as the Hawkeyes win one at home after losing by 30 points at East Lansing. Take it away, guys.